So why is it important that that the business not make too big a profit or one at all?
Yeah. Well, he always talks about their orientation around cash flow and how it is the most important thing rather than, providing bigger dividends for shareholders. And that is so that they can invest in the company and put more money back into the company to do things better and better. And so this cash flow is the thing that props up the ability to provide that operational excellence and to do some of these customer-centric focused missions, if you will. And there's an excellent Benjamin Graham quote that's associated with that, which is that the market in the short term is a voting system. It's just people putting in votes on what they think is valuable. But across the long term, the market is it's a weighing tool, and Amazon wants to be a heavy weight rather than just focusing on votes.
Yeah. So it takes a long-term view.
Yeah, not so focused on quarterly returns.
Yeah, and its fundamentals are excellent. It had a few rough patches growing up, a few scary points, but really the underlying business is rock solid, and they basically choose to make very low profits where they could make more, which I think is an important distinction between, say, some of these other companies that just don't have fundamentally sound business models, that are just taking a shitload of venture capital and pumping up the growth. And unless they keep putting in that money, and this is kind of part of what Jeff actually kind of talks about this in one of his letters, is that, something that takes a lot of capital to produce a payoff over many years, it's not necessarily as sexy a business as you think. And many of the technology companies that have grown absolutely massive, they don't have a fundamental way to make money. So if the music stops and they stop raising new rounds of funding, it's all over. Whereas Amazon does not have that issue. It's a very good business. It's just part of its strategy to keep profits low, keep the cash turning over very quickly to optimize for growth. And that's my opinion anyway.
Is there any companies you want to kind of throw on the table there, mate?
I don't know. I haven't checked them out in the last couple of years, but Uber reeks of being a completely awful business in terms of the fundamentals of it, and probably just having no soul either.
Yeah, I've heard some pretty toxic elements of inside the company itself, but I think what you're probably alluding to, mate, is to offer what it does offer. It means in terms of making that a profitable business model, we're just not there yet. It's going to be many years down the track before the current, modus operandi is at a, profitable place. So,
are we talking about Uber still?
We're talking about Uber still.
Yeah, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that they're just I just think it might just be a completely flawed business. That's just my opinion, and I might get blacklisted here, but I just don't see. Although the Australian arm did make money last year, I think. So.
Yeah, I think it was wasn't it the first one to do so?
Yeah, so I'm just not convinced because it's cheap because they subsidise every ride, and then kind of screw over the drivers. So, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
It's better than a taxi. I'm not sure. Look, I like the service. I'm just saying, I'm not sure the business model stacks up.
Well, I will say that I remember trying to catch taxis in Melbourne before Uber was a thing, and it was an absolute disaster, mate. It was absolutely horrendous. Almost no matter what time of day. And so as a result now, actually catching taxis in Melbourne is actually okay. So it's great, the kind of shift that it's forced in the market as a result of that. So I think, but I think what you're saying is they may eventually, through technology and other means at their scale, be able to make this a profitable business. But at the moment, they're just not there. With all things considered, like how much paying drivers a decent wage, et cetera, and offering a competitive price to the market. So we may see that shift, but I tend to agree, and it's very much that.
Hopefully, they prove me wrong. But.
But I think it speaks to a greater, maybe bubble, as you say, where companies get stuck on that those investing rails, and they have no choice but to continue along it. And it's not it seems like a fundamentally flawed path.
It's quite possible I'm completely wrong as well. So just hang, yeah.
I don't think you are,
this
mate.
In a few years. It just seems to me like, it's a tricky one.
I don't think you
asked me to name and shame, and so I did.
Yeah. Oh, I know there's a lot of problems inside that company that get spoken about. So, anyway, I think the bubble though that exists is very much there, and I think the reason that it probably exists is because of this. There's going to be one in every 10, 50, 100 companies in an investor's portfolio that pay for all the others. And so as a result of that, there's just naturally a lot of money that can float into the system to try and get a hold of that one in X company for an investor to invest in. And so naturally there's potentially too much capital available to companies that probably don't deserve it or probably shouldn't have it because there's some underlying problems.
I think a lot of them aren't thinking about the weighing machine. They're thinking about the voting machine, and they're just hoping to get out before it becomes a weighing machine.